Well, would you look at that? It looks awesome. Still standing up, no issues. I am so excited.
Has something ever sat in a box so long that by the time you got around to it, you couldn't even find the manual anymore? Yeah, that was us. What do you do when you finally sit down to build something you've been putting off for years and you realize the instructions are completely gone? A few years back, we picked up a greenhouse kit. It was a great deal. We found it on Amazon and we had big plans for it. And then, well, life happened. Between the livestock, the hay fields, the garden, the orchard, well, you know how it goes. That greenhouse sat in its box, tucked away, waiting for us to find the time. Well, this year we finally said, that's it. We're building this thing. So we hauled that big box out, we laid everything on the ground, and we started going through it piece by piece. And that's when we realized we had absolutely no idea where the instructions were. Now, losing the instructions is frustrating enough. But here's the kicker. The greenhouse has been discontinued. It's not even made anymore. And no matter how many times we searched online, we just could not find the manual anywhere. All we could find were a few obscure pictures of some other people who have built it. So we did what you do on a farm when things don't really go as planned. We just figured it out. We looked at every single piece. We studied how things fit together, which sections were mirror images of others, where the bolts lined up, and then we compared it to a few pictures we found of other people who had built it, and we just tried to figure out if we were on the right track. Honestly, it was like a giant puzzle, and we were going to solve it whether it wanted us to or not. Now, I'm not going to pretend it was totally smooth sailing. Stick around because we'll show you how the whole thing came together. We started with the base frame because even without instructions, that part was pretty straightforward. Once that was square and solid, the walls started making a lot more sense. We worked methodically from the bottom up. We'd try a piece, see if it made sense, adjust it if it didn't. There was definitely some trial and error. A few pieces got put on and then taken right back off. But slowly, section by section, it actually started to look like a greenhouse. We got the panels in, got the door in place, and by the time the last piece clicked into place, we were honestly pretty proud of ourselves. And then, right as we were finishing up, we checked the weather. That night, a storm rolled in. And I mean a real storm. We went to bed honestly not knowing what we'd wake up to. We had just built an entire greenhouse without a single piece of instruction. Was it going to hold? Were we going to walk out in the morning to a pile of panels in the yard? Would it cave in and crumble from the rain just like what happened to so many other people who left reviews online? Well, we walked out the next morning and that greenhouse was standing there without a single scratch. Not a panel out of place, not a bolt shifted. It looked exactly how it did the night before. The extra support we jigged up with some extra PVC pipes that we had on hand helped the rain trickle off the roof so it didn't pool up and put stress on the frame. and the straps we put over it to hold in place, along with the long metal posts we drilled in the ground, prevented the wind from blowing it over. We can't promise it'll last forever. We're pretty realistic about that. But after surviving its very first night with a storm, we're really hopeful it's going to carry us through this growing season. And honestly, that's all we can ask for. If you're new here, welcome. We're Whitetail Acres Farm. We document the real, everyday life of running a family farm and homestead. If that sounds like your kind of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming up this season. All right, we've got one more project to share with you today, and this one came from pure necessity. We have two of our largest hay fields separated by our electric fence, and every single time we need to move hay equipment between those fields, it's a production. We had to go through another gate in another field further away from the field we actually need to work in, and it just added time and frustration to an already big job. So we decided to finally add a proper gate right in the fence line. We started by setting the fence posts. We wanted these to be solid. This gate is going to take some wear from equipment moving through it, so we made sure to get good depth and pack them in tight with cement. Once the posts were set and we were happy with the placement, we hung the gate. This wasn't a simple process of throwing in some screws and calling it good. It's a heavy 16-foot long metal gate, so it required us to make H-braces for support first. Then add 3 heavy-duty hinges to secure it, 2 facing up and 1 facing down, so if we ever decide to put cattle in this field, they can't use their nose to lift the gate up off the hinges and escape. Then we were finally able to secure the latch. And I have to say, watching it swing open nice and clean and lined up perfect between those 2 fields, that was a good feeling. The last step was rerouting the electric fence lines on either side of the gate so everything stays hot and the livestock stay where they're supposed to be if we ever decide to put livestock in this field. That part was much easier. We drove over to the livestock barn where the electric box is to turn the electric off before we started rerouting the fence lines. And wouldn't you know, the cattle had been messing with that box and it was barely hanging on with a single nail. We really need to put a barrier of some sort so that way the cattle can't get to the box. I suppose we're going to have to add that on our list now for future projects. Anyway, we turned the electric off, went back to the gate, and then cut the electric wire and secured them to the posts on either side of the fence. We are really looking forward to having this in place now for when we fertilize later this week and bale hay this summer. Let me tell you, it's going to make a world of a difference. It's funny, 2 projects in 1 week, both came with their own little challenges. Both of them worked out better than we expected. The greenhouse is standing strong, the gate for the fence swings smooth, and this farm keeps moving forward, one project at a time. We'd love to know, do you have a greenhouse? Are you thinking about adding one this season? Drop a comment below and let us know. And if you've ever built something without instructions and lived to tell about it, we would really like to hear that story too. Thanks for spending your time with us here at Whitetail Acres Farm, and we will see you on the next one.